If your Facebook ads aren't converting right now, I'll almost guarantee you it's not because your targeting is bad, it's because you're using the wrong formats. Most e-commerce brands are still obsessing over audiences, exclusions, and tiny optimizations while Meta's algorithm has quietly moved on. Today, Facebook and Instagram decide winners and losers based on how your creative performs in the first few seconds. That's why some brands with average products are scaling profitably, while better products with perfect targeting can't get ads to work at all. In this video, I'm going to break down why Facebook ad formats matter more than targeting now, and how the algorithm actually evaluates your ads. The exact formats that are converting for e-commerce right now based on real accounts, real spend, and real results. And 3, how to structure your campaigns so Meta amplifies your winners instead of burning budgets on ads that die before they learn. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which formats you should be running and which ones are quietly killing your performance. Quick story that changed how I think about Facebook ads. We were working with a client who wasn't even trying to sell anything. They wanted to promote a nonprofit message, hit a certain number of views on a very limited budget. Naturally, we tested YouTube ads first, should have been the obvious winner, but when we put Meta ads side by side with YouTube, the results were surprising. The cost per 30-second view on Facebook and Instagram was significantly cheaper. So we shifted budget in that direction, hit the client's goal faster than expected, and they were thrilled. That's when it clicked. Facebook ads aren't just powerful because of targeting. They're powerful because Meta aggressively rewards content that matches how people actually scroll. If your creative earns attention quickly, Meta gives it reach. If it doesn't, it gets buried, no matter how good your product is. So let's start with the format that's performing better than anything else on Meta today. Why format beats targeting this year? For a long time, Facebook ads was basically a targeting game. If you knew the right interest, stacked it with lookalike audiences correctly, and excluded the wrong audiences, you could make almost any ad work. But that era is over. In 2026, Meta doesn't need you to tell it who to target. It needs you to give it content that people actually will engage with. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. When your ad launches, Meta watches what happens in the first few seconds. Do people stop scrolling? Do they watch past the first second? Do they interact in any way? Those early signals determine whether your ad gets expanded distribution or quietly dies. And this is why format matters more than targeting. If your format doesn't generate engagement early, the algorithm never gives your offer a real chance, no matter how good your product is. For e-commerce brands, this is brutal, but it's also incredibly clarifying. Because it means you don't need perfect audiences. You don't need complicated hacks, but you do need formats that earn attention immediately. And with that in mind, let's get into the #1 converting ad format for e-commerce. The #1 format, short form video built for the cold scroll. If you fix only one thing in your Facebook ads this year, make it this. Short form video is the highest converting e-commerce format on Meta in 2026. And it's not even close. Here's the important part. This isn't about posting more video, it's about building video specifically for cold scroll behavior. Most people don't open Facebook and Instagram looking to buy. They're killing time, they're half paying attention. So the job of your ad isn't to explain everything, it's to interrupt the scroll. The short form videos that are winning right now share all these traits. They're vertical, 9:16. They're not cropped or repurposed horizontal content. They're short, usually between 6 and 20 seconds. Something visually disruptive happens in the first second. A human or product in use shows up immediately, and they feel native, more like content, not an ad. Once Meta sees people stop, watch, and interact, it unlocks cheaper distribution, and that cheaper distribution creates more data, and more data lets the algorithm find buyers faster. That's where the next format comes in. UGC style creator ads without influencer risk. When most people hear UGC ads, they think influencer marketing. By the way, UGC is user-generated content ads. But that's not what's converting best right now. The highest performing UGC style ads right now aren't endorsements, they're explanations. It's a real person on camera casually explaining why the product exists or why they switched from an old solution. The best ones usually look like this. Shot on a phone, vertical, first person framing. I bought this because, or here's why I stopped using. Imperfect delivery. No scripts, no polish. Focused on why the product matters, not on a feature checklist. Here's the important distinction most brands miss. Creator-style content that lives on brand-owned accounts often outperforms paid influencer posts. Why? Because you keep control. You can iterate faster. You can avoid credibility drop that happens when a creator is clearly selling everything to everyone. We see this constantly with tech gadgets. Brands assume they need detailed explainers to convert, specs, comparisons. But what actually performs better is the creator saying something like, here's why I stopped using the old solution, and here's what I use instead now. Even when fewer features are shown, conversion rates are higher. That's because this format mirrors how people actually discover products from peers, not brands. Meta is optimized to reward that behavior. Short form video gets attention, UGC style creator ads build trust. Now let's talk about where most brands go wrong with campaign structure, especially when they turn on Advantage Plus. Advantage Plus shopping campaigns when they work and when they don't. Advantage Plus shopping campaigns are still one of the strongest conversion drivers on Meta, but they're also one of the most misunderstood. A lot of brands turn on Advantage Plus expecting it to fix performance magically, but it doesn't. Advantage Plus doesn't figure out your creative, it amplifies what's already working and it kills what isn't faster. Here's when Advantage Plus actually works best. You've already built conversion data, you have at least 10 to 20 strong creatives in rotation, your products have clear visual utility, home goods, gadgets, tools. When those conditions are met, Advantage Plus can scale aggressively and efficiently. And here's the pattern we see over and over again. Brands that feed Advantage Plus only polished brand style ads get volatile results. CPAs swing, that's the cost per acquisition. Performance drops suddenly. Brands that feed Advantage Plus a mix of short form demos and UGC style creator ads, much more stable scaling. That's because Advantage Plus isn't a strategy, it's really a multiplier. If your formats are strong, it multiplies wins. If your formats are weak, it multiplies losses. Now let's talk about one format that people keep declaring dead even though it converts when used correctly. Static ads. Yes, they still convert in one way. Every year, someone declares static ads are dead. They're not dead, but they are more specialized. These days, static images rarely win cold traffic on their own. The auction pressure is too high and video usually earns engagement faster. But there is one static format that still converts consistently: problem solution visuals. These are images that tell an entire story in a single glance. Examples that work are before versus after, messy versus organized, old tech versus new tech, manual effort versus automated result. Here's a simple home goods example. A storage brand tested lifestyle photography, beautiful rooms, clean setups, aspirational shots. Engagement was low. But when they switched to a split image showing the problem on one side and the solution on the other, click-through rate increased and those ads assisted far more conversions and retargeting. That last part matters. Static ads shine at the bottom of the funnel. They reinforce the offer and they remind people why the product exists. They answer objections visually. Here's the rule you need to remember. If a static image doesn't communicate the story in under a second, it won't survive the auction. Static isn't your attention grabber anymore, it's your closer. Now let's talk about the part most brands overlook entirely, the copy, and how that role has quietly changed. Copy structure that converts. Here's the shift that most e-commerce brands haven't fully internalized yet. These days, your ad copy does not lead to the sale, your format does. Copy now exists to support the creative, not compete with it. On cold traffic especially, Meta isn't rewarding reading depth, it's rewarding early interaction. That's why the highest performing ads right now tend to use short primary text, often 1 to 3 lines, conversational spoken language. one clear idea per ad, curiosity over explanation. What stopped working for prospecting is feature dumps, long paragraphs, trying to explain the entire product in the caption. That doesn't mean long copy is useless. It still works in retargeting when people already know who you are and whether they're deciding to buy. But for cold traffic, the job of copy is simple. Give the video context, lower the friction, and get out of the way. Think of it like this. The ad gets the attention, the landing page does the convincing. If your ads aren't converting, the problem usually isn't that you need more or better words. It's that you're asking the copy to do the job your format should be doing. Once you understand that, the next unlock is how these formats work together across the funnel. Funnel-aware format sequencing. Most e-commerce brands are searching for the winning ad, the one creative that finally works, the one format that saves the account. But that mindset caps your growth. The highest performing Meta accounts don't rely on a single ad. They rely on sequences. Because people don't go from cold scroll to checkout in one step. They move through the stages: awareness, understanding, trust, decision, and different formats do different jobs better. A common high-performing sequence looks like this. First, short-form video. That creates problem awareness and earns attention cheaply. Then, UGC-style creator ads. That builds trust and understanding by answering the human why. Next, static images or carousels. These reinforce the offer, highlight the transformation, and handle objections visually. Finally, product page and checkout retargeting. This is where urgency, proof, and clarity close the sale. Brands that structure their creative this way consistently see lower blended CPA or cost per acquisition, higher MER or marketing efficiency ratio, more stable performance as budgets increase. This is also why Meta still beats almost every other platform for demand generation. Why Meta still wins for demand generation. This is where Google versus Facebook comparison finally makes sense. Google is incredible at demand fulfillment. Someone searches for the product, they already want it, you show up and capture the intent, but Meta works totally differently. Facebook and Instagram are demand generation platforms. They surface products to people before conscious intent forms. Meta is better at this than ever. The algorithm now detects latent purchase intent, how people engage with content, what they watch or rewatch, what clusters of behavior tend to lead to purchases later. And that's why view-based and engagement-heavy campaigns often precede purchase spikes. People see the product, they don't buy immediately, but when they do decide to purchase, your brand is already familiar. This is also why brands that optimize for last click conversions consistently underinvest in Meta. They're measuring the end of the journey, while Meta is influencing the beginning. The formats we've talked about, short form video, UGC style creators, problem solution images, are what allow Meta to identify buyers before they ever search. And that is the real advantage. And when you combine that understanding with the right creative mix, performance becomes much more predictable. The practical creative mix. Let's make this actionable. If you're running a revenue-focused e-commerce brand, a high-converting Meta account usually isn't complicated. It's balanced. A practical creative mix that consistently works looks like this. 40 to 50% of short-form video demos built for cold scroll, 25 to 35% of UGC-style creator ads that explain why the product exists, 10 to 20% static problem solution images for retargeting and reinforcement. The other rule that matters just as much is rotation. Creative fatigue happens fast now. Most winning ad accounts rotate creatives every 2 to 4 weeks, not because ads are bad, but because engagement signals decay. New formats refresh the algorithm. Fresh engagement resets distribution. This mix works because it gives Meta exactly what it wants. Early engagement from short-form video. Trust signals from creator-style explanations. Conversion reinforcement from static visuals. When those signals are tied to real purchase behavior, scaling becomes far more predictable. You stop guessing, you stop chasing hacks, and performance starts compounding instead of resetting every month. So here's the big picture. Facebook and Instagram are where you create demand. They introduce the problem, they build familiarity, they warm people up before they ever think about buying. And once that demand exists, you need a system that captures it efficiently. That's where Google Ads come in. If you want to understand how to turn that demand into predictable revenue, I break that down step by step in my next video, Google Ads e-commerce strategy. 9 keys to success. If you want the full demand generation to demand capture system, click right here and watch that next. All the best.